Is this the long-awaited DJI Ronin 40 Pocket? Not quite. It's the new Tilta Hydra Alien Mini arm.
You're watching CineD, supported by B&H and CVP.
Hi guys, we're here at the Tilta booth at IBC 2024 with Jack. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm very well indeed. So it looks like Tilta is making electric bikes now, but that's not the case, right? We're not talking about the bike. We're talking about this little arm here. What is it?
Exactly. So this is our Alien Mini series of arms. So a lot of people already know our Alien and our Alien Pro series of suppression arms for our bigger rigs for vehicle mounting. This is literally a smaller version of that. So it's the exact same premise as your bigger kind of arms, but it's just smaller for smaller payloads. It's really good for if you're mounting it onto like your bicycle, or if you're mounting it onto like an electric bike, for example, like we have here. So the system itself is fully adjustable. So you have a small dial here, and that is a fully adjustable arm up and down. The payload for it is under 1 kilo, so it's very much made for like your Osmo Pocket 3s, for your GoPros and your Insta360 cameras. It's not made for your larger like mirrorless cameras, so it is very much for action camera style of shooting instead. So obviously here we've got it mounted onto our little 15mm bar. However, we do an extension arm for it as well and an extension grip. So for example, if you're shooting handheld with a GoPro, you can use it handheld as well to give you a little bit more of a smoother image.
What's actually the payload range? Like what's the minimum and maximum you can put on it?
So the minimum for it is probably going to be around 100 grams, and the maximum for it is under 1 kilo. So it's around 900 to a kilo. Anything more than that, and the arm starts to sink, and it just isn't as effective anymore.
Well, 1 kilo actually means that you can put a lightweight mirrorless with a light lens on it, right?
Yeah, so you can put certain mirrorless cameras on it if you have very small mirrorless cameras, but you're not going to be putting like your Sony mirrorless A7 series and things like that on it. It's very much for like the light payloads.
No, it's very cool. I think it makes a lot of sense because, I mean, I've tested the Hydra, normal one, the Hydra arm, or we've tested it. And the thing is, you realize that when you're doing chase scenes or something like that, you very often don't actually need a shallow depth of field, which means you don't necessarily need to use a larger camera because, you know, like this, for those 1 or 2 shots that you have of a follow shot or something like that, you can use a small sensor camera. And of course, you're much more flexible because you can literally put this on almost anything, right?
Exactly, and Tilta's brand message is pro gear within reach. We want to make systems like this accessible to everyone because traditionally suppression arms are made for the higher budget films, but we really think that it should be something that everybody should be able to access. Even if you're shooting on your iPhone, for example, if you're using our Chrono system on your iPhone and you want to do a chase scene, then we think that you should have the ability to do that. So that's why we make systems like this, to give everybody the opportunity to fully realize their creative imagination.
And probably assuming it's like with lightweight drones, which you very often can use without permissions, you know, like the super lightweight drones that, for example, DJI is bringing out. It might be the same with these things because with the bigger car setups in different countries, you're obliged to actually do you get the permissions to actually put it on your car. But this, I'm sure, is a bit easier to handle.
Yeah, so it does entirely depend on what country you're in. Some countries have stricter regulations than others. For example, in the UK, it does depend on where you mount it on the car. But you are right in saying that because it's such a small system that it is something that you can use. Again, it does depend on what country you're in, though.
In terms of like suspension, I mean, is there any measurement how you can say what kind of movement this thing will sustain and still keeping it steady?
Yeah, so there is markers on the side here, and generally when you're setting up a system like this, you want it to sit flat when it's not moving, so then you have full movement down as you do up. It is around 45 degrees, but obviously it does depend on how you've set your tension on the spring.
I think you mentioned in the beginning, but just one to remind me the mount. So by now the pre-release comes with this 15-inch, 50mm mount.
Pre-release, as of right now, it comes with the bar mount that fits onto most standard bicycle bars. Obviously, motorcycle bars, they're a bit thicker, so you might have to take the buffers out because it does come with buffers, but they can be removed if you need to. but as standard, it fits onto most bicycle bars. And then we also do an extended arm for it with a hand grip, so you can use it if you're walking as well, if you're doing a running shot. But as for mounting onto vehicles, it does come with this. However, what is really cool about it is that if you use our electronic suction cup at the same time, we are releasing a mount for the electronic suction cup, which allows you to screw in the rosette on here. So you can put it onto an electronic suction cup and then stick it anywhere on your vehicle that you need to. So you don't need to clamp mount it onto a bar.
Very cool. And actually, if you use that with your handle, it's kind of making a Osmo Pocket 3 into a mini Osmo Pocket 4D. You know what I mean? Like the Ronin 4D, which has the suspension arm, which you are selling separately in a way, right?
Yeah, it is very similar to that. It is just making the Osmo Pocket 3 a bit more into not a film camera, but going in that direction. And then obviously with the cage that we have on the Osmo Pocket 3, you can then add a monitor onto it if you need to, or you can add audio. So you can really build it out into more of a rig than it comes as standard.
Very cool. What can you tell me about pricing and availability of the Hydra Alien Mini arm?
So unfortunately right now we don't have a price for it, and we also don't have a release date. However, if the past is anything to go by, after IBC we'll be releasing the information very soon.
Very cool. And you don't know when it's going to be available yet?
Unfortunately not yet, but it's something we'll be announcing in the near future.
Awesome. Thank you, Jack. And we'll actually have another video from Tilta booth here. And please, check our other IBC 2024 coverage. If you haven't yet, we're putting out lots of videos from the show. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.